What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Wide Receiver Academy Film Room. Today, we got NFL Week 1 2022 season. We're checking out Justin Jefferson against the Green Bay Packers. Hope you guys are enjoying the content. If so, please click subscribe on our YouTube page or head over to Instagram and give us a follow. Check out our content over there at Wide Receiver Academy. Hope you guys enjoy. All right, today we're breaking down Justin Jefferson of the Minnesota Vikings. Unbelievable Week 1 against Green Bay. Okay, he after Week 1 leads the NFL in receiving yards. Had the biggest week last week, which is why I wanted to break him down first. Capping off last year, 1,600 yards, over 1,600 yards, 10 touchdowns in his rookie season. Just an unbelievable season. If it wasn't for Cooper Kupp, I think we'll be talking a little bit more about the season that Justin Jefferson had. Him and Jamar Chase, both as rookies, just really lit it up. You could see he's going to be doing a lot of the same this year. All right, great start off to the season. It's a career high for him. 9 catches, 184 yards, and 2 touchdowns against the Packers. And I wanted to break him down because he does a lot of really good things. Has a lot of different craftiness to his game for a bigger guy, taller guy, rangier guy. He plays with a lot of savvy, and he has that explosiveness as well, which makes him really dangerous to cover. And like I said, just does an unbelievable job in Week 1 for the Vikings and a big win over conference or division rival Green Bay. So let's check it out. Kirk Cousins, obviously at quarterback. All right, starting off. And we just talk about pretty much his targets and catches in today's breakdown. All right, we're going to start out. So we got a 3-by-1 formation here. Okay, you see the tight end to the field down here. You got a guy in the slot, and then Jefferson's right outside down here to the bottom of your screen. All right, it's just man coverage across the board. Okay, and you're going to see how this man matches up. We'll talk coverages a little bit. He has inside leverage here. We got this guy obviously in the slot right here. Outside leverage on Jefferson, which you're going to see how he uses that really well. You see this safety start to work his way down into the box. He's going to have this tight end, and then we're going to have our center fielder here in the middle of the field. So it's cover 1, okay? Now, his first step here I want to talk about, and we're going to talk about this across the board. There's a lot of misconception with false steps, all right? I don't like to call these false steps. They're not wasted step by any means. They're very productive steps for all 3 of these guys. We'll talk about the 3 receivers, Jefferson, Thielen up top, and then the guy in the slot. We'll talk about how they switch their feet. We'll call them a repositioning step. So it's a very productive step to get them to where they have to be. Okay, so let's talk about Jefferson first. Now, you notice how the corner down here has slightly outside leverage. And that's because he's going to have middle help, okay, middle of the field. And he's going to try to funnel Jefferson to the middle of the field. So what Jefferson's going to do, okay, he knows he has this inside release, and he's going to run a dig on this. So he knows that he's going to run a dig route. So he has the release he wants. Watch Jefferson's back foot here. Okay, look where it starts, and look how he just repositions it slightly inside of where he started. That allows him the shin angle. Now the angle of his shin allows him to push to get square with that corner. Okay, so you're going to see. Now he's square with him. Because he gets square like that, he keeps the defender out here. All right, if he would just run straight, let's just say he took off the ball straight and just ran straight up the field. All this corner is going to do, because he's outside, is start to squeeze him and funnel him to the middle of the field. Because Jefferson takes this little repositioning step and pushes outside to square him up, it keeps the defender right where he is. Okay, he's going to take a 1-step release. So you'll see his right foot gets into the ground, 1 step. He's going to get skinny, swim over the top, and just push to the inside. Okay, we'll talk about the rest of his route in a minute. I want you to look across the board here. The other 2 guys that we're going to talk about are using a speed release. Okay, so you're going to see this guy in the slot that we're talking about. He wants to go to his left. Watch how he repositions his feet. His back foot comes out, so he has an angle. Okay, you see his shin angle to push to get to the left, to get inside of that guy. All right, so that's how he repositions his feet. It's not a false step. He's repositioning his feet to push. Up top, we're going to talk about Thielen. His opposite foot's up. So the guys down here have their left foots in front, okay, left feet in front. Guy up top here, Thielen, has his right foot in front. So now he needs a little bit different of a repositioning step. Okay, he's going to go left the same way the guy in the slot did. The guy in the slot repositioned his back foot to push. Watch how Thielen is going to reposition his front foot. Okay, so you see he loses a little bit of ground. Okay, again, it's not a false step. Loses a little bit of ground, provides him a shin angle to speed release outside of that corner. Okay, the more that we can identify the shin angles and the position that our feet need to be in to push, the better off we're going to be. Okay, and this is kind of a natural reaction. It's just a speed release. Okay, it should happen naturally, but it's something to just be aware of whenever you're watching film. All right, coming off the line of scrimmage especially. Again, I can't reiterate enough. It's not a false step. It's a very productive step. Okay, we're just going to call it a repositioning step. So when we're talking about repositioning our feet to push, okay, you guys understand what I'm talking about. All right. And again, you could see it across the board. All right, now let's talk about the next phase of his route here down at the bottom, Justin Jefferson. So we talked about his release. Okay, he repositions his feet. He gets square, gets skinny back inside. Now, watch how he tries to stack the corner. Okay, corner's now outside of him. Watch how Jefferson just slightly leans back to the outside. When he leans there, all right, when he leans there, we'll use orange today, there's a big window that Cousins sees here. Okay, you could see this massive window just coming open into the middle of the field. All right, and again, it's man coverage, so you got to clear out here by number 2. Up here, he's doing his own thing. Jefferson's going to run a dig right into this open window. Okay, because he leans on him, he keeps him outside. He doesn't get forced down in. It creates a bigger window for Cousins to throw and creates a little bit more space and separation for Jefferson here at the bottom. Okay, let's talk about his plant. You see his right foot slightly getting outside of his hips. That's what we want. Again, when you plant and you break down on a speed cut like this, your foot is slightly outside of your hips to help you stop yourself and give you that angle to push inside. Okay, and because it's sudden like that, and he's able to create all that force in his right leg there to stop and push himself, it makes it very sudden. It's going to create this separation. Now, gets the foot into the ground. He starts to get his head turned. All right, his left foot gets back into the ground, the ball of the foot. And you're going to see how his hips are turned slightly this way, so it's going to cause him to drift a little. In this situation, it's really not going to hurt him. Okay, it actually kind of helps him to stay away from this linebacker on the other hash. But now you'll see his head starts to get turned. He's pulling his left arm. His hips are getting turned. He has just enough separation there in that wide open window that we talked about for an easy throw and catch. But he sets himself up at the beginning, okay, because of how he squares that guy up and then how he stacks. Okay, we'll watch it in full speed here. Squares him up, stacks, plant, suddenly make the catch in that open window. First down. Okay, this next play I want to talk about, all right? We got a 2-by-2 formation, so we have 2 tight ends up top. Down here to the field side, guys are kind of tight down here. The Packers are playing, it looks like something that we call cover 4. All right, we'll talk about cover 4 just a little bit. Okay, cover 4 is kind of a mix of zone and man, just to kind of keep it simple, all right, to talk about. But up top, like I said, we got 2 guys. So we got tight end on the line of scrimmage right here. Tight end off the line of scrimmage right here. Both guys are eligible. So this corner, his eyes are going to be on number 1. This safety, his eyes are going to be on number 2. And how the rule works is, all right, this number 1, all right, the corner is going to stay over top of this number 1. Now number 2, the safety, he's going to play this 2 to 1, we'll call it. And what I mean by that, if this tight end goes vertical to this safety, it essentially turns into man coverage. We got this corner will be man on this number 1. We got this safety that will pretty much be man on number 2. Now, how I said if he goes 2 to 1, if this number 2 comes out and runs an out, okay, he now is reading this number 2 receiver. Because he went out, he's going to pass that off And now his eyes are going to work to this number one. So let's say this number one runs a slant. He now can break on this inside route over top of number one. Okay? It's going to be very similar down here. It's a very similar idea. So got one over top of this guy here. This safety here is looking 2 to 1. It's the exact same idea. So if Thielen, who's inside here, runs vertical at him, it pretty much becomes man. Okay, if he runs more of an out route, now he's looking for Jefferson coming on something across the middle of the field there. Okay, something coming back inside. All right, you're going to see why this matters. Packers play a good bit of cover 4, so you're going to see why this matters later in the tape. But I'm showing this now because I just want you to see how Jefferson leverages this defender. Okay, so Thielen is in the slot here. He has a collision. All right, now let's talk about Jefferson's route before we talk about anything else. Again, whenever he releases vertical like this, it pretty much turns into man with this guy, and Thielen will be one-on-one with that safety. Now Jefferson runs this out directly at that corner. Because he runs it right at him, you'll see this corner start to get wide. When he gets wider like that, this allows Jefferson the ability to run a stop, run it out, or simply turn back inside and run a dig. So let's say he did that. Let's say he just ran a stop right here, or he ran slightly back inside. Because he widened him out like this, he gave himself a ton of room back in here. Okay, so if he ran a stop, Cousins has a nice window. All right, this guy's getting out of here, so it's going to grab this defender here. Okay, this guy's playing the same thing, kind of a curl to hook area. So if he were to run a dig or if he were to run a stop, all he has to do is find that open window between these two guys here, and Cousins has a pretty easy throw. Okay, now the route is an out instead, but still, because he worked to him, he's now able to, we'll call it a two-step at the top. You're going to see how he plants with his right foot first. Right foot to threaten some sort of post or some sort of breaking route back inside. The Packer defender has his hips turned. He's able to run that out right off of his hips there. So this is a throw, and I know it's a little cloudy underneath here. You got two defenders here. Kind of a tough throw for Cousins over top. But he has the separation here. And Cousins can make that throw. Definitely can make that throw. And he'd have a pretty easy first down. All right, let's talk about Thielen here. Inside the slot. He gets collisioned a little bit. Tries to speed release around him. Like to see him get off just a little bit quicker. Now, because back here, backside, I don't mean to confuse you guys with all this, but backside, these guys both stay in the block. Whenever they both stay in the block like that, it frees up this safety here in this corner here. So this safety now is able to look across the formation. Okay, he has nothing coming over on this side, so you're going to see his eyes shift over to what's going on here. So because it's, like I said, it turns into man down here, this safety has Thielen one-on-one. You see his eyes start to look back across. So with that, let's say Thielen would run a post, okay, across the middle of the field. They can now pretty much bracket this. This safety here down to the field over top of Thielen, he could be a little bit more outside of Thielen because he knows that he should have some help back in here. Again, that's if he is recognizing everything else that's going on in this play. Because you have a lot of Packers back here that are just free. All right, they're just free, just waiting for anyone to leak out, which these guys could handle here. But this safety here should know he's going to have some help on Thielen across the middle of the field. And you're going to see they kind of get caught up. All right, this safety knows, you could see the bracket, but this safety doesn't know he has that help. So you could see him start to get his hips turned. He's trying to play more of the center field role, and Thielen's going to break it right back outside of him. If Cousins recognizes that, this could be a touchdown too. Okay, and again, it's a long throw, talking opposite hash, whole way across the field. But Thielen, again, pretty open into this area here. And this is just one of the beginning things that the Packers start to do that gets them in trouble a couple times in this game, where with just lack of communication, lack of positioning, lack of awareness with what else is going on here. Okay, let's go to the next play. They go empty formation here. It looks pretty similar with cover 4 here. Quarters coverage. So, one thing Justin Jefferson does really, really well here. Again, he knows that he's going to have this overhang come out and try to collision him. If he goes vertical, it's the same rules we talked about. If he goes vertical, this safety's going to match. Him going vertical, this corner's going to match. Pretty much turns into man. If he runs out, this safety now is playing 2-1, same way we talked about. He runs out, he passes it off, okay, to an underneath guy, and now it pretty much becomes like a bracket coverage over top of this number 1. He could play any inside route to this number 1. Like I said, a post, a slant, a dig, anything like that, this safety can kind of crash on. Okay, so Jefferson does a really good job, and you're going to see how he just holds guys. Now watch. He avoids a collision. Now, instead of just getting bumped off his route, okay, whenever he gets collisioned here slightly, rather than getting bumped off his route, okay, and just going straight to his out at like a 3-yard route, if he would do that, he stays in this overhang's eyesight. So if the overhang collisions him and he just goes straight to his out, he's now in the peripherals of this guy. Okay, and because of that, this guy is able to understand exactly where Jefferson is and play more to the flat, okay, and be on him a little bit tighter. Now watch what Jefferson does. He works around this guy and gets back square. Whenever he gets back square, there's a couple things that come into play. One, he holds this safety. Because he's getting square again and he's going to have his hips downfield threatening vertically, this safety is still accounting for him. Okay, that safety's still accounting for him because, again, if Jefferson goes vertical, that's the safety's guy. He also gets out of the eyesight of this overhang. You could see now. Now he's behind him. Okay, he can wrap and run an in route, which he has a ton of space. Okay, he gets lost on this out route because this overhang defender is now in front of him. He can't get his eyes to Jefferson. He can't see, he can't use his peripherals because Jefferson pushed that route just a little bit more vertically. Because of that, he gets lost. And now look at this. Jefferson's catch, number 1, first down already. Okay, already a positive. But there's no one that can make this tackle within 15 yards. Okay, this overhang defender's not going to catch him. And this safety's way back here already. All right, he was playing number 1 because, again, 2-1. He's reading Jefferson went out. He's now becomes a part of covering this number 1 guy down the field. Jefferson makes that catch. He got 15 yards to work. And that's exactly what he gets on top of that catch. Okay, you can watch it in fast motion here. Just show you the live speed. Again, just watch how he avoids a collision, stacks and stays vertical, and gets lost with that overhang, and he holds that safety accountable just a little bit longer, which gives him more room after the catch. Okay, more miscommunication here with the Packers. There's a touchdown here for Jefferson. This is what motion can do to teams. Okay, so you could see this, the guy that was on Jefferson from the beginning, he's trying to pass this off into motion. Okay, so you got 2 guys up top. All right, it's a 2-by-2 formation, so you got 2 guys up top that are accounted for these guys. All right, got the corner, and you got 29. We'll call him a nickel or a safety. I don't know exactly where he's coming from the beginning of the play. Down here, you have this overhang defender on the tight end, and then you have one-on-one with the corner here. Now, you're going to see a bunch of people get lost. 29's pointing across. They're really not paying attention. They're still looking at tight end and Thielen. Okay, tight end releases inside. All right, so he's going to pass him off. His eyes go right to Thielen. Corner's eyes are still on Thielen. They got 2 guys covering 1 and nobody covering Jefferson. Again, a miscommunication all over the place. There's miscommunication here on the motion. There's miscommunication down here. No one to pick up Jefferson. And there's no switch call here. There's no one. This corner here doesn't really help this overhang passing Thielen off to him. And they're all lost. Everyone's lost. And you're just going to let a guy who has been lighting you up already, Pro Bowler, All Pro, All Rookie, all everything, Justin Jefferson just running free. And there's just no one that's accountable to make that play. And you see him arguing after the play. 21's looking inside, saying, man, I need some help. Jefferson's down here doing the gritty. See it live. I like showing these live replays because it's a little bit clearer. Again, there's no help coming across. Jefferson does a nice job of staying flat. And this is a tough catch. I can't explain how tough this is. I know it looks really easy, but you're turning your head the whole way back around to the quarterback as you're running away from the football. That's not an easy catch by any means. And it gives you a lot of time to think about it. You know you're open. You know it's a touchdown. It gives you a lot of time to start thinking. You'll see some guys drop these. I've dropped this pass before. But again, lack of communication gets the Packers caught. Easy touchdown. All right, next play here. Okay, cover 4 again. This is where I was talking about where they kind of get lost again in the miscommunication realm. All right, so we got 2-by-2 formation. We have one over top of one, corner over top of one. Safety's looking down at 2. Remember, he's playing 2-to-1. Same thing over here. Safety looking at Jefferson, corner over top of number 1 down here. Okay, so quarters coverage. Now, when he releases vertically, okay, this guy's going to stay in and block. He's kind of just hanging out in here to get a chip off of this defensive end here. All right, so it becomes 1-on-1 up top. We got 1-on-1 here, 1-on-1 down here as well. Jefferson does a nice job of avoiding this overhang. Okay, they're trying to collision again. Green Bay doesn't do too bad of a job trying to collision these guys. But he realizes, okay, that he can win inside. Left plant, gets skinny, and avoids him. Now, watch how Jefferson starts to get this guy to lean. Okay, so you see Jefferson. He doesn't get pushed down into the play here by this collision man. All right. Watch how he starts to get this guy square again. So watch how he'll lean, okay, and get back outside. So instead of getting funneled down inside of that hash, watch him start working back outside of the hash. Again, he gets vertical. Now, whenever he gets vertical like that, it puts his safety in a bind. Okay, he could go here. He could go here, back across. He could just run a little stop route, okay, right to the middle of the field. But he has all these options because he gets square on that guy. Now, the safety back here, all right, he understands. He got 1-on-1 here. He could break and crash on this inside. This tight end releases. When he releases, it kind of freezes this safety. Okay, now if the safety doesn't have really any threat in his area here, he could play that 2-to-1, kind of bracket him on this side. He's also looking across the cover, so he's looking for any type of help across the field. Okay, so let's say, perfect world, perfect scenario, they go cover 4 here. All right, and they just run, we'll say an out here. They can run a stop here. All right, in which this safety has to respect. They can run this post backside, and they got really anything. They just hold this corner. All right, now it puts this safety in a bind, okay, because he's manned up, and now they got Jefferson 1-on-1 against this safety. Okay, that's the idea. That's the concept that the Vikings are essentially trying to exploit here. So Jefferson, again, the threat to running that corner. Hips are square. He takes one step out look at the safety, okay? His head starts to get turned. He starts to roll immediately because he thinks Jefferson is running that corner, okay? Now, because this tight end released late, this safety's still keeping his attention on him. Shouldn't be, because he could pass this off to underneath, but he's still keeping his attention onto that tight end. Tight end runs that little stop route or a little dig route, how I just talked about, and it grabs that safety just enough. And when it grabs him just enough, Jefferson has this whole side of the field to work with. Okay, you see this safety's lost. This guy stutters just enough to crash onto this guy. Kirk Cousins has a clean pocket. He steps up and he delivers that throw. You can't be indecisive on this play. If you're a defender, you cannot be indecisive as this safety. You have to make up your mind. Okay, what is this tight end going to do? He just chipped a guy. He's running free. Look at all these underneath defenders that can account for him. This guy still, he's 10, 12 yards off of him. You really can't do anything in that situation except come up and make a tackle anyways, even if the ball is thrown to him, which Cousins could make that easy throw. But he realizes he has that safety that just keeps his attention on that tight end long enough. There goes Jefferson over the top. Okay, another big play. Some indecisiveness by the safety. Costs him. Here you go. You could see it live again. You see that beautiful pocket for Cousins to step up into. These guys are lost. 31-26. They had a rough game. Guys were lost a lot. All right, this wasn't a catch. I just wanted to show it down the goal line because I wanted you to see Jefferson's route. Okay, and the Vikings are going to run kind of we'll call it a hole combination, hole concept. He's just running and basically curling up right into the end zone. This running back is going to run to the flat. Jefferson is going to run a corner over top of all of it. Okay, so it kind of creates a high-low effect, and you're going to see this triangle for Cousins to read. Okay, you see he's just going to kind of post up into the end zone here. Cousins has a nice clear window. Guys coming across the middle of the field here. Okay, it makes it a little bit cloudy, but the flat clears that overhang defender out. Now it becomes one-on-one with Jefferson and the safety. Creates that high-low. All right, now Jefferson does a really good job of being patient here. He waits for all that to clear out. Okay, now he gets square with this safety as quickly as he can. The safety doesn't do a really good job. He keeps kind of retreating into the end zone. And when he retreats like that, see him hopping back? Okay, he kind of starts at the bottom of the G in Vikings. And he's hopping back towards the top of the G. Okay, it's probably about 4 yards. He gives Jefferson about 4 yards of extra space by doing that. Okay, now, when Jefferson puts that pressure on him, again, he can wrap inside on a post or a dig for an easy touchdown. He also keeps him there just long enough to get that high-low to where Cousins understands if this corner comes off of this guy in the hole here, if he comes off to play that corner, he's going to have the hole shot for a touchdown. You see him grab onto the hole shot here, and now you see Jefferson just one-on-one with that corner. Now, one thing I do like that Jefferson does, watch him get real patient at the top. Think of like a basketball player trying to make a run, right? Trying to get open and man. It's a very similar idea. Kind of patters his feet just a little bit. Plants with the right foot. We'll call it a two-step at the top. Plants with his right foot to fake like he's going to go inside. Plants with his left foot. Again, you see the angle he has to be able to push to that corner, and it freezes that defender just enough. Or he could snap his head around. He has just a little bit of separation. The ball is perfect. And Jefferson typically would make this catch. I thought he had 2 down. His toe was out. They don't give it to him. But beautiful route, beautiful concept. Cousins makes a great throw. It's everything that you want. Okay, here we go down here. Once again, kind of a quarters coverage look down to the field here. And again, Jefferson just uses so much patience in his game. But watch how patient he is here. Okay, so number 2 goes vertical. All right, number 2 going vertical is going to grab both of these guys. So he's going to grab the corner and the safety. Jefferson's just going to push up and kind of chop his feet just a little bit. He's patient. He's waiting for this to clear out, okay? And he's waiting for Cousins to catch the ball, get in his rhythm, and be able to throw this on time. And this overhang here, he's kind of a nickel defender. He's doing the same thing. He's trying to collision number 2. Now, once number 2 clears here, he becomes the safety and the corners guy. His eyes immediately go to Jefferson. Now, when Jefferson sits down like this, it freezes this defender because he doesn't know if he's going to break in. He doesn't know if he's going to break a slant. He doesn't know if he's going to take off and run around him. All he does is, on rhythm with Cousins, is break to that out. Now, again, you have a superior athlete out here in open space. Because he was patient, it froze this guy just enough, 10 yards to make that tackle before this corner's coming down, or this guy's going to have to make the play. Super easy first down. We'll run at normal speed here. Again, just freezes just enough. Him freezing allows this number 2 to clear out, and it freezes this guy inside so he can run his out on rhythm, pushes upfield for a first down. Again, we talk about just the little nuances of his game. You see, he delays off the ball a little bit, right? Everything doesn't have to be a rush. Delays off the ball a little bit. Timing runs his out. It's a free 10 yards, first down. All right, next play. Got a big touchdown here. I got a couple questions. I don't know what the Packers are doing here. Okay, it's kind of a cover 3 look. It's also kind of a cover 1 look. So let's just assume, okay, if we used our pre-snaps, we see a couple different things. So we see a deep safety, okay, 1 high safety, which pretty much narrows it down to cover 3 or cover 1. We see these corners playing outside of the formation, turned slightly towards that quarterback. Okay, that's telling us potentially zone. Okay, potentially zone, if I had to guess. Packers have been collisioning and dropping to their zone. So, in my opinion, this still could be cover 3. This guy could work out to the flat. Got this guy in the curl to dig here, hook to flat here. Okay, so this is kind of what it would look like. My circles are terrible, but you guys get the picture. This guy would be in a third. This guy has the middle third. Over top, he's the center fielder, and then you got this corner down here in a third. Okay, that's kind of what I'm picturing. All right, now, this guy here, because he looks straight up, this kind of gives, all right, maybe it could be a man coverage here. Maybe it could be cover 1. The Vikings are going to run a cover 1 beater. Okay, and we'll explain that. But we got double post up top. Okay, double post up top, which grabs the attention of this safety. Okay, so let's assume it is cover 1, how we were talking about. All right, and why you're going to see the bust here. Vikings are going to run post here, post over the top here, and then all they're going to do with Jefferson is run him underneath of this inside post. And it's a man beater for a couple reasons, okay? You have the crossing routes here, all right? So they're looking to get some sort of collision on these DBs, okay? Some sort of collision to free up Jefferson. They're also trying to get a high-low effect on this safety. So let's say this safety jumps one of these. Well, now they have one-on-one on this post up at the top of the screen with this corner, okay? Again, that's assuming man coverage. So that's what makes it a man beater, and you're going to see how it works out. This guy, I think, is thinking cover three, because if this was cover three, all right, if this was cover three, Packers would be in a lot better of a situation. Cover three, this guy, his eyes would be back at the quarterback in his third, and he's just waiting for anything into his third. Same on this side. Okay, and then obviously the center fielder. So if Jefferson runs across, okay, he's going out of this corner's third down here. So this corner is now looking across the formation to see if there's any guys coming across the field into his third. And he's essentially passing his guy off to this corner into this third. So miscommunication there. Again, that's what this corner's doing. He's expecting that to be passed off. Well, if it's man coverage, there's no one on the all-pro down the middle of the field. And you'll see why that creates so much confusion. Okay, it's not always lack of talent that'll get you beat. Like, yeah, these guys are talented. You got to cover two of the best in the game. You got Thielen, you got Jefferson. Those are talented guys that you have to cover. But miscommunication, lack of attention to detail, missed assignments will crush you. Jefferson doesn't have to do anything here. Doesn't get collisioned at all. The route could be whatever. He's just getting lost and running underneath everyone. Touchdown. Again, just lack of communication. I don't mean to pick apart the Packers here, but I mean, they're just making it so easy. 184 yards, and we're talking multiple times on just missed assignments or lack of communication to cover this guy. That's a tough gritty. I think that's one of the hardest I've ever seen him gritty. Look at that. My guy's height. Well, if it works once, why not come back to it, right? Very similar play out of a different formation. I don't really know what the Packers are running here as far as coverage goes. They kind of have like 5 guys deep. All right, sometimes into empty like this. So the Vikings come out in empty formation. All right, so you got your 5 linemen. You have your tight end. You have your running back. Now this is third down. Okay, it's about 3rd and 7. So what some teams will do to this is they'll run like a cover 0, we'll say. And in that cover 0, you'll have these defenders in the secondary playing like 6 yards off, and they're just playing a catch technique on these receivers. And the idea is the Packers are going to bring one extra guy than the Vikings have to block. Okay, and they're going to hope that blitz gets home before Cousins can make that throw. And that's the point of that catch technique. They're trying to collision those receivers. Okay, that's kind of what I thought they were going to be doing here. But now it almost looks like they're playing zone, like a cover 3, but somehow manning up these inside slot guys. And all the Vikings are going to do, they keep 7 guys in to protect. Because they got max protection. It's a 3-man combination. You got the tight end is going to chip off of this guy. The running back up top, Cook, is going to chip off of one of these blitzers here. Okay? Whenever they do that, they understand the Packers are only bringing 5 guys. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 across the line. The Vikings have 5 linemen in there, okay, to be able to protect this. So once they get their chips on the ends, it helps out the tackles. They're just going to leak. Okay, they'll leak out. And again, on 3rd and 7, look how easy this is for Cousins. Cousins could hit this tight end down here who's wide open, who might run for another 40 yards. Okay, he could hit Cook up top, which now you got Dalvin Cook on a corner that's going to have to make this play. Again, 3rd and 7, look how easy it is. The Vikings are going to run that exact same concept on which they scored, which Jefferson scored on. Now, if the Packers would stay, it's like a 5-man type shell here. If they would just pass these routes off, they would probably be in a better position as far as the secondary goes. So they're going to run this double post to this side. Again, it's a man beater. They're trying to get this safety, okay, in a bind on a high-low, all right? And all they're going to do with Jefferson is bring him right underneath this inside post. Okay, and they're going to look for a collision in here. They're going to try to just get kind of a rub to free up Jefferson. You're going to see it, right? The safety drops back. You got one-on-one with Thielen down here. You're going to see this inside guy and this safety over top. Slight collision. It forces the defender who's on Jefferson to go underneath and around that post. We talked before the high-low on the safety. The safety gets his eyes down into this mess in here, and you see Thielen with a ton of space to run. Okay, but I don't think Cousins had to go with this throw. He decided to make a tougher throw. I'm probably hitting this tight end or the running back leaking out, but I mean, I've been throwing to Jefferson all game, so why not go to him again? But it makes this Packer defender run around this collision, and it gives Jefferson just enough space there to where Cousins can drop it in over the top. I mean, he has at least 3 or 4 yards of separation there. Climbs the stairs, makes a great catch. You're going to see 26 get up. He's furious. He's mad that he has to cover Jefferson. He's mad at the coverage they're giving him. Or he's mad at that other guy for the collision. Again, I think if the Packers just kind of pass these off and kind of stay in their zones here, I don't know what they're trying to accomplish. Like I said, it's almost like a weird cover 3, but they're playing man on the inside. I don't know if that was their adjustment to empty or what. Regardless, he's open. Makes a big catch on 3rd down to convert. All right, last play here. I just wanted to show, once again, Jefferson's patience. He's in the slot down to the bottom of the screen. Okay, I know he's running off of number 91. Okay, this guy's just out here to collision. They're just trying to get anything collisioning here to help this safety out. Now, this is more of a secondary release, we'll call it. So, releasing at the line of scrimmage, that's one example of a release. You have to be able to release at the line of scrimmage in like a press coverage situation, right? Down the field is just as important. So if I push off and I have a guy over top of me, I have to be able to release in a secondary situation. So we're 5 yards downfield, and he still has to get a release on this guy. So he squares him up. He's patient. You see him kind of chopping his feet again. We've seen this a couple times from him on this cut up. 2-step release. All right, he got his left foot in the ground to fake going inside. He's going to give him head and shoulders, fake inside. It's going to freeze 91 just enough. Again, it's not the ideal situation to show this big guy covering Justin Jefferson, but again, for the sake of the cut up. Left foot in the ground. He has an angle to slightly push back inside. Gets that right foot into the ground now. Okay, you see his head and shoulder fake. He has a great angle to push. Got his right foot into the ground. Gets his hands off of him. Stays nice and flat. You see his head turn. Because his head is turned, he pulls that inside arm. His hips are square running to the sideline. So he's not going to drift. Easy 5 or 6 yards. 2nd down there. 2nd and 10. So he gets about 5 or 6 yards and makes it 3rd and manageable. All right, we'll show it one more time here live just so you guys could see how patient he is. Patient, little 2-step release. Let's try to slow down the release again just so you guys can see it. It's a good thing to practice here. 2-step release, left, right. Freezes 91 inside just enough to make him think we're going to run something across. Breaks it back out in the out. Cool. All right, that's it. That's our cut up. That's our breakdown. Justin Jefferson, again, massive game. You saw a ton of miscommunication by the Packers. But nonetheless, great game by him. Career high Again, like I said, 184 yards, 2 touchdowns. Great way to start the season for the Vikings with a big win. That's it. We'll see you guys next time.